Hi everyone! For my project, I decided to focus on peer support services for juveniles on probation. Peer support is mutual support provided by people with similar life experiences as they move through different situations. For the most part, the research that I found on peer support services was related to mental health services and substance abuse treatment, and I wasn't able to find much about probation, and especially not much about youth peer support services, but overall research indicated that peer support services are beneficial for successful recovery. Most participants in the research I found related to peer support services described receiving emotional support, including helping them stay motivated and hopeful when they felt like giving up, and receiving encouragement to work through challenges. I believe that this will be the same for adolescents who are able to utilize peer support services. And so the reason that I decided to focus on this topic for my research is because I did an internship with Five County Detention Center in St. Anthony, Idaho. And during my time there, I noticed that even the kids who were on probation still struggled a lot and still got in a lot of trouble. Probation wasn't exactly straightening them out. And the kids who were obedient to their probation contract simply seemed to be going through the motions. And I think that the friends of these kids contributed a lot to their poor behaviors and decisions. They were a big influence on them. And so I wanted to find out if juveniles on probation were more successful in their program, if they were able to work with a peer support specialist and have some added support from someone they felt they could relate to more, instead of, say, a probation officer or counselor who's 40 years old and seems out of touch to them. My alternative hypothesis is that juveniles on probation will have less negative behavioral incidences while working with a peer support specialist than the juveniles who are not working with a peer support specialist. My null hypothesis is that working with a peer support specialist has no effect on the behavior of juveniles on probation. There were 50 participants randomly assigned to two different groups. Each group contained 25 participants. Participants ranged from age 13 to 18 and were court-ordered to probation with Five County Detention Center. I used dataset number 2 and measured negative behavioral incidences over the course of 9 months. The experimental group worked with a peer support specialist, and the control group continued with routine treatment and did not have access to a peer support specialist. The behavioral incidences of each group were recorded for a combined mean each month. Behavioral incidences were measured by reported negative behaviors. That could mean anything from run-ins with law enforcement or incidences reported by the school to probation. Really, anything that was severe enough to be reported to probation was recorded. The type of analysis used was an independent samples t-test with a significance level of 0.05. My results for the Group 1 came out to a mean of 2.69 reported behavioral incidences each month, with a standard deviation of 0.94. And for Group 2, the mean was 4.14 and the standard deviation was 0.66. The t-value was negative 3.8 and the p-value was 0.002. My results showed that there was a significant difference in reported behavioral incidences between Group 1 and Group 2. The experimental group that worked with a peer support specialist showed less negative behaviors than the control group that did not work with a peer support specialist. Therefore, I will reject the null hypothesis. I think it is important to take this into consideration moving forward with peer support services, especially for adolescents who may desperately need a positive influence to relate to during such a difficult time in their life, and help them be successful now instead of waiting until they continue to get in trouble later. So while we have them, let's make it good.